Greetings once again. Welcome to the Yang Style long-form course on PTTV. I'm Michael Gilman. This week we've got some beautiful movements to do. A repeat of single whip, our second viewing of single whip. And we're going to do what's most everybody's favorite movement, waving hands like clouds, and followed again by another single whip. So we've got a lot of nice movements, and I hope that you've been enjoying these as much as I have been enjoying them. In the opening of the show, you saw that as I finished the little sequence which we had learned last week, after turn, chop opponent with fist, step up, deflect, downward, parry, and punch, ward off left, and grasp the bird's tail, I just came all the way right back and did a little finishing. And you can do, you can make any amount of movements into a whole form. Now remember that the original Tai Chi was only 13 movements. It got expanded up, and some forms have hundreds of movements. This particular one has 108. And shorter forms are different varying lengths. So in any case, you don't have to worry about learning, all the movements. And once you know all the movements, you can make up your own little forms to suit your time, how much time you have. All right. So anyway, I'm glad that you're tuning in, and I'm happy to see you. So let's get to it, shall we, and do our turning of the waist. Nice, easy, relaxing. Now, I've talked to some people this week who say, "Oh, I just love watching your show," And I said, "Well, are you learning these movements, getting up?" No, I just enjoy sitting watching it." Well, come on, get up, get moving. It's not going to do you any harm at all to move and just try some of these movements out. You might find that you enjoy it and it's good for you. Get your circulation moving, kind of getting relaxed. And we all have a lot of tension in our daily activities. So these movements, in the beginning, it maybe is a little tension causing learning something new. But it won't be long before it'll be something you'll look forward to doing. So just get up and do it, all right? All right, rolling down. Rolling up. Shaking. Shaking legs. Good, shaking legs. Good. Turn the waist. Rolling down. Rolling up. Shogun. Okay, Wu Chi stance. Feeling your feet on the ground. Knees soft, top of the head lifting. Chin slightly tucked under, shoulders and upper ribs suspended from above. Breathing in and out through the nose, directing the breath to the lower belly. Take an integration breath. All right. For a Qigong warm-up, let's do a little what we call circling the energy around the belt channel. Now, one of the main energy channels is is this, it runs around sort of the waist. Energy just runs in this freeway, and it's a very strong flow of energy. And so what we're going to do here is circle this energy around. So here's how we're going to do it. We're going to stand in what we call the horse stance, remember, nice and soft in the knees and relaxed. Place the hands in front of you, palms downward. Now we can start off with a little circle. It doesn't matter whether it's, what direction it's going. Now, it's like stirring a pot. Only what's really happening here is inside my torso, I feel the energy going around the inside of my torso. The hands are only an expression of what's happening inside. So here the energy is moving around the front of my body, around the side, around the back, then over to this side. So it's a gentle, easy circle. And you want to be concentrating inside, feeling something move around your inside of your waist. And as you get it going, you can make your circle bigger. And you can, it's sort of like throwing, a fish net out or something. Okay? So it goes out and around, out and around. Actually, it's just actually moving just inside my torso, around. Doesn't matter how you breathe, just breathe naturally through your nose. Good, and then go the other direction. You can start out fairly small. Feel it on the inside. And when you get kind of in touch with it moving around, make it bigger. Good, and then just bring it to a nice, quiet spot. Let it settle. Shake a little bit. It's like we've got that energy flowing, and just if you shake it up, just mixing the energy and getting that chi just moving through the torso, and shake. Yeah. Very good, and let it settle. Shou Gong, gather. Very good. Okay, let's just review the last week's movements. We'll go from fan through the back, all right? And let's do it in the way that we would, so you could follow at home. From fan through the back. Comfortable, keep the body upright. Turn in the toe to 90, attach. Shift and pivot. Step out slightly to the right, chop and push. Step up, deflect downward and punch. Coming back, pull in the toe. Replace stepping down, shift the weight. Step straight forward and punch. Ward off left, sinking back. Remember, come back into a crouching sort of position. Ponging forward, ward off, left. Turn in the back toe, turn out the front toe, sink your weight, roll up the back heel. Step forward, 30, to the right, slightly to the right, and right push upward. Roll back, press, and push. All right. Let's go once again, and let's do it from the front. Now, it's very important, make sure you're doing it correctly. You know, if you were in class, I could help you. You're at home, you must look at yourself. Do these movements as close to as directed as possible, okay? Fan through the back. Pressure outward. Turn. Remember, the torso turns, the toe turns into straight ahead, 90. The hands relax. Shift onto the toe. Open, starting to make a fist. Step out, touch the heel, and chop. Shift forward and palm. Step up, deflect downward. Rolling back. Pull in. The hands are coming over with the body as you replace the foot. Shift the weight onto the right foot, rolling up onto left toe. Step straight ahead, touching the heel, then punch. Ward off, relax, palm relaxes. Brush off, or we call wipe off the hand, coming back into center position. Pong forward. Continuing, turn in the back toe. Turn out the front toe and roll the weight onto it. Center position. Step ahead, stepping slightly to the right. And right push upward. Roll back. Press forward. And push. Okay, let me demonstrate what our next movements are going to be. Then I'm going to call out, Anna's going to help us today as the victim or attacker. I'm the victim. Now watch first. This is single whip, our second meeting of single whip. Then we're going to do waving hands like clouds. And we're going to repeat stepping to the side. We're going to step to the side 3 times. That's 1, 2, 3. We're going to then repeat single whip again. This one is going to look quite a bit different. Okay, so can you at all imagine what these applications are? Pretty abstract. Okay, so if Anna would come in. Anna's working camera today, so welcome. Okay. So first is a single whip. Now, as I said, this comes over, open. So this one is a kind of interesting movement. In the form, Anna would be coming directly straight from the direction I started, which in the form would be she would be in front of me, but just so you wouldn't be able, so you can see what's happening, we'll do it in this direction to start with. So in this one, she's going to be punching in at me with this hand, sort of a high-ish punch. Okay, so as it comes in, I'm basically going to get out of the way. At the same time, I'm going to join and lead this energy. This little kind of wrapping thing really works, because now I can twist her and do different things. And I can also, I'm free to, I'm not grabbing her, but my hand is free to then attack her again. So as I neutralize, I take her and lead her further than she wants to go. Then I step in and slap her with the back of my hand, you see. So as it comes in, I neutralize and slap. There's a lot of other things that I could do with these hands, but that's sort of the main, most interesting. Let's just stand there just one second. So once again, she comes to the front, join, neutralize, step, and slap. Now this is one of those movements that in application is slightly different than in what we're going to do in the form, because I want to make this movement end up in the same direction that all the single whips do, which is to my left over there. But in application, it doesn't work quite like that. But so it's just, we just modify a little bit. Okay, the next movement is waving hands like clouds. So in waving hands like clouds, see, most people look at this as sort of just rolling a ball, and this is a very meditative movement that you could do like that. Just kind of rolling energy around in your belly. But of course it has an application, and this application is rather simple. It's basically it's ward off to the side, ward off going to the side. So she's going to be in the form, I'm going to be ending up facing, and she's at kind of a little bit of a diagonal to me, and she's going to be punching in. So once again, as always, going with the energy, neutralizing the energy, pulling, whoa, you see, helping her go a little further than she wants to go. When I pull her, I step to the side, and then as she retreats, I just throw her over my leg, you see. So basically, she comes in, I lead, join, lead, then throw her over the leg. And we're going to be, see, here's join, lead, step to the side, and throw her over the leg. And we're going to repeat it 3 times, and I'll explain to you in a minute why we do that. Next, we're going to finish off with another single whip. Now this single whip is at the end of the last cloud hands, so we'll say I would be facing, in the form, I would be facing like so, but for you to see it, we'll say, we'll do it on this direction. So now she's coming in with this hand. So what I'm going to do here is, again, lead her to the side. But because she's open, she's ready to attack. You see, it's a little hard for her to attack me because this hand is kind of back. You see, it's not nearly as long. So I've stretched her out here. So I have a little bit of time here. So as she goes, I lead her, and then I come up and attack her with this whip underneath into the rib cage. You see? So as she comes in, it's neutralized, step in, I'm stepping into her center, and then this is a whip into the under here, it can be anywhere there. So this single whip has 2 parts, and we make believe that Anna's twin sister is here. Okay, so first I've dealt with one of them over here, say Anna's old self is here, her new self is over here. This time she's going to punch towards me with this hand. Okay. Now this movement's interesting. You see, we can neutralize, but again, she's open, so I have to do something fairly quickly. So this is what's called a blocking punch, and it happens in the martial arts a lot. So what I need to do is keep her from attacking me. You see? And as she comes in, she's just sort of stepping right into this. So in this blocking punch, when she comes in, I block and strike at the same time. See, if I get her arm in the right place, you see it's going that way, and then it just makes a nice strike. Okay, so that's the blocking strike. Okay, well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And so let's start. I know that was a lot of different things to be thinking about, but we'll work on them. Okay, the foot movement for this single whip is just a little bit different than the first one. Excuse me. Let me show you, facing you, the first single whip, just to review, the one we originally did. Remember, we came back, we turned to 90, we pivoted, then stepped out, and finally opened. This one's going to be a little different in timing. It's going to end up in the same place, but in timing it's a little different. Now watch. We come straight back, turn to 90, same thing. Now, as we bring the hands over, instead of opening, I'm going to open and step all at the same time. Then shift and slap. So the timing is a little different. It's kind of like a twist. It's as the torso is going to go to the right, the lower body is going to go to the left. It's a little different. Yeah? So, once again, now watch. Back. Now here she comes. I'm going to neutralize her, lead her, step in, and slap. Okay, let's do the foot movement in the form, in the way that we would be doing it, the way you're doing it at home. Okay. 1, shift straight back. 2, turn to 90. Now, as you shift, you're going to step all the way over to a little bit to the left, and then shift forward. It takes a little more balance than the first way. The first way we had a little bit of a balance help. This one we're getting stronger now, so we can do it. We go 1, 2, 3. Good. Geez, I just had a really strong deja vu about teaching this on PT TV before, like this. Really a strong feeling. Interesting. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's easier to do with the hands because the hands are going to balance the step. All right, so let's just do it with the hands. From push. 1, lengthen out. 2, bringing the hands with you. The left hand is the right hand comes up facing to the left, then makes its hook. Watch this from the front. 1. So it faces slightly to the other direction, makes a hook. Yeah. 1, 2, make the hook. Now 3, as you're opening, the hands are just going to go along the horizontal plane, opening to the right. And finally, we're just going to slap. This is just a easy slapping, kind of slapping with the back of the hand or wrist. One, two, three, four. One, two, three, four. That, see, you see that the hands are going to balance the step. As the hands move right, it's just like doing the twist, you know, like when you do the twist, hands go one way. This is just doing a twist with a stepping out. This is a good exercise, actually. Okay. One, two, hands go right, body goes left, and throw. Now the hardest part about this is when you're opening for number 3 or 4 or whatever, when you're stepping, that you open enough to the left side to be able to accept and make a break, a nice break for your incoming slapping energy. So what I mean is, let's see if I do it facing you. One, two. So when you step, the tendency is to step kind of narrow like this, and then when you go to slap, off you go. You lose your balance. So when you go to step, you have to make sure that you step enough to the left to make a good braking energy and end up in a proper single whip. Okay, once again. One, two, three, four. And of course, turning in the back toe, so now you're facing in the proper direction. Your shoulders are relaxed, body relaxed. Okay, single whip. Okay, once again. It's warm in here today. Whew. One, two, three, four. Now let's make a, some of you maybe don't have quite the balance yet to make that nice big step. Let's just modify it a little bit, okay? One, two. Now 3 is open and pivot like you did before. Then kind of open a little bit, step, and then continue. So you can drag the foot and make a little bit of a, you know, make it a little easier for yourself. Yeah? So let's do a modified version. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You can see that the energy sort of doesn't flow quite so well, but in the beginning it's much more important to keep your balance and kind of be able to relax than it is to keep the energy flowing. All right? So, single whip one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. Next is going to be waving hands like clouds. Now, if you remember, after single whip, Anna was coming in at a diagonal. And as she came in, I neutralized with my right hand. The left hand pretty much relaxes. And I'm coming, let's do the foot movement. Yeah, this is important. This is what we call the side step. So far, we've had stepping forward, stepping back, and now we're going to step to the side. Stepping to the side is a lot like jumping to the side. Stepping forward is a lot like jumping forward. This is the martial arts. We need to be able to move quickly in all directions. So if you have a nice wide shot here, I'll show you that. See, it's testing. Bijal out, see if you can. Okay. When you want to move, you see, you have to have the weight. Anytime you move, you have to have the weight on the bearing foot, and then you lift up the other foot and go. So this is what we're going to be doing, only to the side. You see, we did the same thing forward and backward. You see, or changing. So this time it's sideways. We're moving sideways, okay? So in the form, here's what it looks like from the single whip. I better come back this way since we're moving to the left. Shift the weight back, turn the waist, turn in the toe to 90. Shift the weight onto that foot, pivot on the toe, bringing the foot parallel, and bring it back so now you have your Wu Qi basic horse riding stance, Then we must sink the weight onto the right foot, roll up the left foot, step it as far as you can to the side, but you want it to be parallel, facing straight ahead. You then shift your weight onto that foot, bring this foot in a little bit. It's a small step. Shift, roll up, step, push, and in. Shift, step, push, and in. Shift. Okay, now, what's going to happen to most people is when you go, the upper body is going to lean to the side to compensate for the stepping. It's the same thing that we did when we did the first ward-off commencement. The tendency is when you go to step ahead to kind of lean back to counterbalance. This is quite common, you see? Or when you step back, when we did step back and repulse monkey, to kind of lean forward to compensate. You see? These are errors. These throw your balance. Initially, it makes your balance seem like it's better because as the foot's going back, your upper body's going forward. But it puts you you're very vulnerable to falling over, and there's a lot of martial reasons. But you see, the difference is, if I do this, I'm not committing my weight into this leg very much. I'm standing on top of the hip. Whereas what we usually do is sink the weight in as you step. If you have your body straight, you can sink your weight into the foot. That way I can use this leg much more dynamically. Okay, for sidestepping, what tends to happen is when you go to step to the side is you lean this way. Right? This is probably the most common error in Cloud's hands, is that the person is leaning. Well, you don't have to lean. You don't have to lean. What you need to do is just, as we always do, see the weight's down, is you turn your torso slightly, sink your weight into the foot you want the weight to be held on, and turn your torso a little bit. See? So if you can see my upper body here, as I turn, you see I'm basically just sinking, and then I come over and bring the foot in. Then turning, you see, turn. Now turn a little farther than the knee, sink and step. and shift, and bring the foot in. Now ideally, both legs, when you step, when I shift, this leg is straight. When I step, it's straight. When I shift, this leg is straight, and bring the foot in. So you shift, this leg straightens, you step, straight, you shift, this leg straightens, and you bring the foot in. So that's what's called sidestepping. So let's do it as we would be doing it in the form. 1, shift back, turn the waist, turn in the toe to 90, sinking the weight into the right foot. Shift the weight to the left foot, right leg straightens, pivot the toe, lift it up, bring it back, try not to lean to the left, and root. Now, put your hand in front of your belly button, and you notice that you turn slightly to the right, roll up, step out, shift, turn the torso slightly to the left, roll up, bring the foot back in, turn, shift, roll up, sink, step, turn, roll up, bring the foot in, shift, turn, roll up, sink, step, shift, and turn. Yeah, so that's the side step. Now we want the feet to be parallel. So each time we're basically parallel. You see, it would look a little odd to be doing it like this, wouldn't it? Might not look that odd to you, but you know, it kind of looks, yeah, it does look odd to you. Okay, it looks odd to me and feels odd. It feels a little bit, particularly if you're not used to having your knees go in the direction of the toes always, it feels a little bit uncomfortable. But as much as possible, you want to be going sideways. So I would just practice walking side to side. You could try walking, you know, down on Water Street like this. You see? Sideways down. Good, it's good practice, right? Okay, so the hand movements are fun. The hand movements are fun and interesting. So basically the hand movements are making 2 circles, outward moving circles. Now this is the same movement we did when we did ward off left, that it circled, remember? That we circled and came up, circled. And here we're going to make 2 circles. So you can see here why this is called waving hands like clouds. See, there you have these beautiful clouds drifting by. You see the hands are inward. Keep the shoulders relaxed. I remember that I used to, when I first learned it, after I did this, I'd always have a pain in my neck, and I realized that my shoulders were up like this. You know, I was kind of doing it up in here. But as much as possible, you want to keep the shoulders dropping down. Now, this is natural for me. This kind of movement like so. But for you, it might, in order to time it, it might not feel quite good. So just do one hand at a time. Nice circle with the right hand. And it's mostly done with the elbow. You see, it's mostly done with the elbow. The upper body, the shoulder you see here is not doing too much. So do this until you sort of feel quite comfortable with it. Then the left hand, it goes in the opposite direction, outward flowing, right? Again. And it's, as everything, it's done with the waist. You see, the waist is turning, 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 turning. Okay, then you, at some point, you get to do 2. See, this is very beautiful because we're stirring energy inside. Remember in the beginning, we did the belt channel? Well, this, we're going to take the energy from the lower part of, say, the right. We're going to bring it up to the upper left, bring it over to the upper right, and down again. We're going to be having this big circle of energy with our body. See, we're just circulating the energy in this nice big, and as I look at it, this hand is making a clockwise circle of energy. Okay? It's scooping up and over and down. So this one, you can really, we could isolate this one and make a really beautiful Qigong exercise out of it. Unfortunately, we're not, but we could. You can do it at home. Okay. The other hand, you see, is making a counterclockwise circle. So here it's coming up the right side of the body and down the left. This is coming up the left side of the body and down the right. So we're basically moving and stirring the energy throughout the body. It's very, very good movement. So then when we get going, we've got these patterns of energy moving through the body. It's beautiful. Okay, and of course, as you saw, it has firm and correct martial application, and basically it's just the same as the second movement we learned, ward off left. Remember, we joined with the energy, we led it, stepped behind it, and pong, threw it over the leg. This is exactly the same, only instead of going forward, I'm going to the side. Join, lead, step behind it, and throw it over my leg. Then I come in, so now I'm ready again. So here it comes again. So the energy comes in, so I join, lead, step behind, throw over the leg, bring the foot in. Now I'm ready to go again. Here it comes, join, lead, step behind, and throw over. Now, in the long form, we do waving hands like clouds 3 different times. We do single whip 10 different times. So now we've got 2 single whips. This is our first meeting with waving hands like clouds. And each time in this particular form, we step to the side 3 times. Now, why 3? There's no mystical reason. Only because in the form, we start out at one place. And we want to end up relatively in the same place. I don't want to end up in the next room, and I don't want to end up facing some other direction. I want to end up back in the same place. So because of the way the form is designed, I do repulse monkey. You know how we just did repulse monkey a little bit ago? We're stepping this direction. Now we're going to step back again. And so we go back and forth, and throughout all these movements, it's been designed so that you end up in the same movement. So 3 works out pretty well. Some other forms do 5. There's just different amounts. So don't worry about it. But 3 is the way we're going to do it. Okay. So waving hands like clouds is a little bit tricky in the beginning. I have to admit it. Some of them are easier. This is a little tricky. So you've got this tape now, you've got this program. You might have to watch it more than once to get it. And again, come to the classes or come to the Chetsumoku Park on Saturdays and work on it. Next week we'll review it a little bit more. Okay, so let's do single whip and then work on this cloud's hands again. Okay, so I better start down this way a little bit since we're going to go in that direction. 1, shifting back. 2, turn, join. 3, lead into the emptiness at the right and step to the left, 90. Slap, turn the waist, you should have to turn in the back toe at the end. Waving hands like clouds. Now first, let the left hand kind of relax and the right hand now comes up to join with the incoming energy. You then move with it, neutralizing it to the side, turn in the toe. The first one, this is not even counting number one. This is just kind of the transition. And we come back, we don't, and bring the pivot on the toe and bring the foot back. Now we're going to start to count. Again, we join, neutralize, roll up, step, and one, pong. Bring the foot in. Now here, number two, join, neutralize. The hand is rolling over. At this point now I'm going to grab. As I grab, I pull, which allows me to step. I then neutralize to the side. Two, ponging, bring the foot in. And three, join, lead. The hand rolls over. I pull, step, and pong four. All right. Okay, let's do those again. This is a lot, you know. Usually in classes we generally do like Cloud's hands, one, or you know, single whip is one lesson and Cloud's hands is another. But you know, I don't want this to go on forever. You know, so we're going to have to move a little more quickly. One, two, join. Three, lead. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Step, relax, and slap. Turn in the toe. Let the right hand come down and up. Then lead, turn in the toe. Shift, pong to the side, bring the foot back. Now, join, lead, pull, sink, one, pong. Bring in, join, sink, lead, two, join, pull, sink, three. Okay. One more time from the front. One, two. This nice exercise. Two. Lead. Step. Slap. Relaxing. Sink your way a little more into that left foot. The hand comes up, join. Palm facing inward as it comes across. This other palm faces to the right side. Then palm turns over, pull, and you pong outward with the back of the hand, bring the foot, and then this hand comes to center. Join, lead, this comes across the upper body. Palm rotates downward as you step. Now I'm in center position. Okay, center position, then palm. And over. That's one. Two. Three. Now we're going to do single whip once again. Now this single whip is very much like the first single whip in that it's both things moving away at the same time. Now watch. After we've done the last one, we come into center. We're going to step straight ahead, and at this point, open. This looks like ward off. It could be just, if I didn't have the whip hand, this could be pong, ward off. In this case, I make the whip, and I'm striking, remember I struck Anna in the ribs with the back of the wrist. Like that. Then, sinking the weight on the right foot. Step the left toe down straight towards the left, and push out. Okay? There's really not too much to this. Now let's do it from the last cloud's hands. Okay. First, turn out, pivoting on the heel, turn out the left toe, sink the weight onto it, come into center position. Step straight ahead. Now open. This is like warding off. Open. The left hand is pulling downward. The right hand is striking outward. Now, sink the weight into the right foot and pivot on the toe, on the left toe. At the same time, this hand relaxes. The right hand also relaxes, and the palm, fingers face downward. Then, step straight towards the left and expand outward, striking with the palm. Don't go too hard. Keep a little bit of flex. Okay. Again, from the last cloud hands, turn out, sink. Come to center. Step straight ahead, touching the heel down. Then expanding outward, striking with the back of the right wrist or hand. Pivot slightly to the left, turning the torso slightly to the left. I now block and strike forward. Okay. After the last cloud hand, come center, step in, strike, relax, step out. All right. So, let's review both of these, right? Okay. In the form, from push. Single whip. Open, step. Waving hands like clouds. Join, lead, pull, shift, bring the foot back. Join, lead, step. 1, 2, 3. Single whip, sink, step in, open, block, strike. Boy, that's a lot. So next week we will review this some more, looking a little more carefully. I know this is a lot. And so I hope you enjoy working on these movements. Just, break up your cloud's hands. Just break it up into these little pieces. Do your side step. Remember, work on your side step. Work on this waving part, and it'll all come together soon enough. Okay? So I thank you a lot, and I'll just, we can go out as I do the movements if we have any time at all. So thanks, and see you again.